light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing, light 'em up in the ring, light 'em up, shoot, shine, do your thing, light 'em up, go dumb, go stupid, yeah, we undefeated, sucker free, we got the seats heated, let's face it, you bout to get a beat down, less talking, let's take it to the streets now, ain't gonna be no rematch, why you wanna fight, touchdown on sight, yeah, turn off the light, oh, turn off the light, let's get it poppin', go dumb. When you see me moving, bodies dropping. Move some. I'm about to go sick. Call Earl. I'm turning up like E40, not your average girl. I'm turning up. We can rock like Rocky. Make you tap it. Ghost ride the whip. Look at my drip. This ain't a copy. We got all night if you wanna throw hands. When they see me fight, they wanna throw bands. Go dumb, go stupid. Yeah, we undefeated. Sucker free, we got the seats heated. Light 'em up in the ring. Light 'em up. Shoot, shine, do your thing. Light 'em up. Light 'em up in the ring. Light 'em up. Shoot, shine, do your thing. Light 'em up.
It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¡Qué onda, vatos locos! Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for another special edition of the Shoe Shine Boxing Podcast. Now, as you can see on the right-hand side, it says Drew Evo, but Drew is not in the building tonight. Let me get some pictures up here so at least you guys don't have to see my empty slot here. Now, if you are joining the Shoe Shine and you are a regular participant, thank you so much. Shout out to AC Walker. He said first when I hit that like button. Man, I appreciate that. Let everybody know that's a boxing fight, a combat fight fan that the Shoe Shine is on. Maybe you guys want to participate or hop on the panel tonight if you watched the UFC this weekend or if you saw the big Jake Paul fight. Saludos to you. I want to give a big thank you to everybody that joined us on Friday and Saturday. It was kind of an impromptu last minute thing. There was some pretty good fights on Friday night. Well, at least interesting, but we had the return of Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber. Shout out to everybody that came and supported the Shoe Shine on Friday night. We also saw Christian and Billy, a super middleweight contender that could, in my opinion, be a fantastic opponent to Canelo Alvarez if Canelo Alvarez would ever just give him the opportunity. That ended up in a first round KO. It was incredible. Yeah, AC Walker, we've been getting a lot of requests. Originally, this show was kind of like a hybrid. We talked about boxing and, of course, the UFC. And I got a good friend, Mario, that was on the show on Friday. He has his own channel on YouTube, Infighting Hub. Go support my boy Mario if he's listening. Mario, if you want to hop on. He also covers MMA, and so I kind of want to get back into that, being that I live here in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, of course. So if you're interested in that, leave me a comment, guys. That being said, Friday night I set up my my whole podcast studio in the living room. You guys might have noticed that there was a black background. That's like my dining room and whatnot, so I could watch the two fights. And I think I broke my primary microphone. Like, this is not the mic I use for my broadcast, so I'm not going to sound the same. I'm listening to it. I'm like, I don't really like it too much. Even it kind of feels like I sound kind of weird. So hopefully I figure out what's going on with that mic, or I may have to look for that mic. That's a vintage mic too, by the way, guys. I'm going to have a hard time finding that. They don't make that microphone brand new, and it is kind of my secret weapon if anybody's into microphones. It's an AKG mic, Austrian mic, as a matter of fact, and I think I broke it. I think I broke it just moving my podcast studio to the living room. So, saludos, Carlos. Hey, he says, salute to DC 33, United, Philly strong, Huelga strike. Carlos, if you want to hop on the panel today, man, let me drop the link, because I'm solo dolo, as a matter of fact. Hopefully the link is right here. Paste that in here. Nope, that's not the right link. What's going on here, guys? Let me put that in. Saludos to Wiley Coyote. I appreciate you. I'm going to be putting the... trying to copy this here real quick. My link. There it is. And dropping it in to the comments here if you guys want to hop on. Especially if you got something to say about this weekend. Yeah, that's right, actually, Carlos. I don't want to give away too much, but the content is on YouTube, and it's fucking incredible. Excuse my language, guys. The city of Philadelphia, the mayor, I guess she greatly underestimated the union. Salute to DC 33. Drew is a proud union worker for the city of Philadelphia. And the videos are out there. They're freaking outrageous, guys. They're outrageous. I saw a documentary on Netflix this weekend. I've been watching the one about this Toronto, Canada. The mayor, he was a big crackhead and he looked like Chris Farley. And I guess they elected him not knowing he was a serious drug addict. They ended up having a sanitation department strike, and the city of Toronto went to shit because the sanitation department went to strike and he couldn't get a deal done. I believe that the city of Philadelphia may be coming to an agreement with the union, but the trash is out there, guys. They got to treat the employees of the city of Philadelphia, all these departments, the 911 dispatch people, the street teams, public works, water department. You got to give them a living wage. My boy Drew deserves a living wage. Don't cross the huelga, don't cross the strike line. Just support them, man. Everybody needs a living wage. You shouldn't have to work 50, 60 hours of overtime to make a living wage. So I hope everything turns out okay. If you're interested in some of that content, there's a guy named the Philly Captain. He's a friend of Adam the Woo, big YouTuber, and he's been driving around on his e-scooter showing like what the city of Philadelphia looks like right now. So hopefully they get that shit under wraps, because obviously a city like Philadelphia, they can't be without picking up the trash, y'all. It's nuts. But shout out to Drew. Shout out to everybody joining us. Like I said, I dropped the link. I appreciate it there if anybody wants to come on and talk. Speaking of Philadelphia had a heat wave. New York had a heat wave, so it doesn't help that the trash is compiling. But Las Vegas yesterday, Las Vegas had this ridiculous dust storm. And it has to be in the 2 years I've lived here. My cars are jacked up, guys. It looks like I went out 4x4ing. Both my SUV and my sedan are covered in like nasty ass acidic looking. It looks like acid meets dirt. It fell on my car. It was just nasty. And I got to wash those cars because it is 4th of July weekend. And I got to have those cars looking nice, as a matter of fact. But it was crazy, guys. Go look at those videos too on YouTube. Like 50 electrical poles fell in Las Vegas. Thousands of people were out of electricity. I was just watching that shit from my second story window, watching the cars just completely come to a stop. It was pretty, it looked like some Burning Man shit. Anyways, guys, I got some Jimador here. It is Wednesday. I haven't had any alcohol all week, and I poured myself a shot. I get anxiety going live by myself, so I appreciate everybody that's here today. Saludos to you guys if you guys have a 4-day weekend, wow, salute to you. If you're coming to Las Vegas, I hope you guys have a great time. Before I get to the coverage here, obviously Jake Paul and whatnot, this is pretty wild news to me. I found out, I'm talking about Las Vegas, guys, and a lot of you guys that like to come to Las Vegas and gamble and whatnot, but they're trying to pass that bill. Here's to that bill that's probably, who knows if it's going to pass tonight. Well, they're trying to pass the tax bill, right, guys? And I've got this video here, but apparently there's something in that bill that is going to greatly impact the state of Nevada and Las Vegas. I'm going to share this with you guys. Let's watch this quick video. It's just a minute long. It's going to greatly impact anybody that considers themselves a high roller, or people that make significant income from gambling, sports gambling, even people that live here in Nevada. Sports gambling is it's going to affect anybody in this country that makes sizable income from sports gambling. But high rollers, professional poker players, people that come to Vegas and bet big, take a listen to this, guys, because this is wild. And this is currently in the bill. So let's play this real quick.
All right, this is really bad for gamblers. So the Senate amended the big, beautiful bill to come after us with taxes. So here's how it works. You can only deduct 90% of your losses during the year from your wins. And if you're a professional, losses also would include deductions like home office expenses and so on and so forth, travel. The way this works in practice is, let's say that you finished the year as a gambler and you broke even. You, in several sessions, won $100,000 and you lost $100,000 if you add up all the sessions that you played. You broke even, you came out with $0. You would get taxed on $100,000 minus 90% of $100,000, which is $90,000, meaning you would get taxed as if you made $10K that year. Now, for professional gamblers, very often if you won 100,000, you might have actually won 2.1 million and lost 2 million. And in that case, you only get to deduct 1.8 million, which is 90% of 2 million, from your 2.1 million in wins, meaning that even though you made only $100,000 that year, you would get taxed as if you made $300,000.
That is some crazy shit. Well, look with the cat dragged in. I appreciate you, Drew. Good to have my co-host, Drew. I'm not going to ask you what's going on, man. But can I ask you? Did the strike come to an end?
Not yet. They wanted some people to come back for time being, but they said gave me a call at the end, told me not to come back. They got enough people, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Wow. Appreciate it. Hey, shout out to my boy F Donuts and everybody in your community, guys. I'm always praying for you guys as our community, your community, our community, everybody that loved the late Finney and Bubbly. We're all still grieving over them. Shout out to you, my homie. Wally Coyote says, y'all voted for your boy. I won't even tell you who I voted for, but Drew, that's just something that I heard about the bill, the tax bill that they're still kind of like debating over. That shit is wild because my father-in-law, who lives up in the Reno area, which is northern Nevada, he's an incredibly lucky and skilled gambler, and he makes a sizable amount of income from gambling. He's a very good video poker player and poker. He might consider himself kind of like a sizable income. It's going to greatly impact a lot of people that gamble professionally or gamble as part-time income because they're really talented at it. Not me, dog. I don't gamble it, but honestly, for anybody that spends a lot of money gambling on the UFC, basketball, all the sports, man, it's going to impact everybody. Good to have you, Drew, as you drink your Coca-Cola. Carlos M says, stay strong, Drew. Let me get my comments thing up here. I wasn't anticipating that you were coming on here. I missed a lot of these comments here, guys. Speaking of MMA, Drew, I wanted to quickly share with you. You remember the fighter that Ben Askren, MMA UFC fighter?
Yeah, had to get a double lung transplant.
Exactly. Guys, you guys probably followed that. You know he fought Jake Paul, and Jake Paul knocked him out like in round one and whatnot. But he had that his lungs collapsed or whatnot. Both of his lungs failed him. And so he was about to die, bro. And the insurance companies denied him. And so I saw the GoFundMe where they were trying to raise money to have his lungs replaced. I guess they were going to have to pay completely out of pocket, which is this is completely fucked up that our insurance companies can do that to somebody. Just basically say, go ahead and pass away. Somebody mysteriously donated the amount necessary to have the double lung transplant this weekend. And I know that Jake Paul, after his fight, made some type of announcement, not that he was going to be helping. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Jake Paul paid the entire bill or came close to paying the. Nonetheless, man, they saved his life. Right now, he's going through the therapies or whatever, anti-rejection, to reject the lungs from, to not allow the lung transplant to reject. That's incredible. Shout out to whoever did that for Ben Askren, man. That's an angel, right?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Wiley. He says staph infection due to pneumonia. And I've had pneumonia. That's crazy. But never that's the worst case scenario. I actually, I've seen a lot of people pass away from pneumonia. I spent a lot of time at nursing homes, unfortunately, guys. So, but shout out to whoever did that. If it was Jake Paul, that's one good thing. Yeah, he says the MMA community rallied and Jake Paul paid a large sum, upwards of potentially, I heard $2 million. That's nuts, guys. Well, you guys saw the thumbnail. I appreciate, Drew, you coming in here. If you want to get through all these topics, let's do it, man. First of all, the weekend kicked off on Friday with a very surprising first round KO. Christian and Billy, we were watching it with Mario, and then we saw the Deontay Wilder, and I appreciate everybody that was there, Drew, but now that we've had some time to think about it, Christian and Billy, what's next for him, and what's next for the great Deontay Wilder, the great American former champion?
Man, I wasn't impressed.
By who? Christian and Billy or Deontay Wilder?
Deontay Wilder, Like, here's the thing, man. Until these super middleweights fight each other, man, we really can't really say nothing. Really. Like, and Billy's going to have to fight one of these top middleweights, super middleweights. And I think, you know, I think it's time that you step them up more. Like, I don't understand. Like, top rank, that right? Like, top rank, man. Top rank is like all brakes and no gas when it comes to making the great fights right now. And it's starting to be like a waste of time, even watching the fight. Like, and Billy's gonna have to fight a top 5 fighter now.
Wait, I agree with you. They've tried to get, like I said, I think he's the dark horse in the division. It seems nobody that's in the very top echelon, the top 5, wants to fight him. Sulecki's kind of these warrior guys that's been in with a lot of people. But again, like what we saw this weekend in the main event between Jake Paul and Chavez, Sulecki really was no threat to Christian and Billy at all, which is why this resulted in a first-round knockout. Now, we have a very exciting super middleweight matchup coming up July 12th. I've got some exciting news on that, man. We've got Edgar Berlanga, the return of Edgar Berlanga versus Shiraz, which is Turki Al-Sheikh's golden boy, in my opinion. That's very exciting. That's coming up July 12th. I would personally love to see Christian and Billy somehow get an opportunity to fight the winner of that fight. Like you said, those guys are credible. Well, Shiraz is kind of new. Shiraz is new to the division, but Edgar Berlanga's been in there with the undisputed king. So I think if whoever comes out victorious, man, I would love to see that happen. It's probably unlikely being that Christian and Billy, he's got a co-promoter, Drew. He's got Eye of the Tiger behind him, which is the Canadian promoter, and then in association with Top Rank. The really effed up shit is that I think Top Rank has 0 dates in August, which is not good. We still don't know where they're going to land. Shout out to my boy Sonteo Media. I'd love to say the name, but saludos to Miss Bitch, Holy Bitch Queen. Okay, I said it. And Wiley Coyote says, Chavez decided to fight in the last 30 seconds of the 10th. I think he won. I was just rewatching some of the highlights. I think he won round 9. Is Hamza Shiraz still with trainer Ricky Funes? Boy, that's a damn good question because he does train. Doesn't he train out here in the U.S.? And he's already here. I saw the face-off, which is really good. And I'm wondering in that face-off if Edgar Berlanga is successfully getting under the skin of Shiraz. Shiraz took this fight. Shiraz. I'm wondering if he's getting under his skin, Drew. Did you catch that face-off yet?
Yeah, he's working for a knockout. He's put himself in line to be knocked out cold.
I'm going to get to some news. You know what? F that, guys. Appreciate Sonteo being in here. Let's play this really quick, Drew, because there's some drama going around, and it doesn't just have to do with Shiraz and Berlanga. They had their face-off this week, but you might remember this. Let's play a little clip of this where Berlanga threatened Oscar De La Hoya, and Oscar De La Hoya, well, he's going to be at that fight July 12th in just 2 Saturdays. Here's a clip.
All right, Edgar, we wish you all the best of luck. Edgar Berlanga.
And I want to say something, too. Fuck Oscar De La Hoya, too. He's always a motherfucker. He keep talking and talking. We're going to smack him when we see him. You got to stop. He's trying to fuck up the event.
Drew, Edgar Berlanga promising to slap the shit out of Oscar De La Hoya. Well, Oscar De La Hoya, he's put out a video this week, and he's ready to see. He says he's got a surprise for Edgar. I'm curious what the surprise is, but this is his statement right here.
Edgar Berlanga, I have a huge surprise for you July 12th. I'm going in for William Zepeda, but you know what? I cannot wait to see you. You say you're going to slap me? I dare you.
What is the big surprise, Drew? Because last week, Oscar's big surprise to everybody on Twitter, X, was him in a robe and some stripper underwear. I can't unsee what I've seen it, man. He's always out there showing his junk in like male stripper G-strings. It's really quite unsettling. But he says he's got a big surprise for Edgar. I don't know. Anybody know what that might be? Drew,
pair of underwear for him?
I don't know. Well, listen, this weekend was filled with knockouts. Deontay Wilder stopped this guy, Herndon, but that was to be expected now, right? And today I've got some breaking news. Oh my God, it's so exciting. More breaking news on the Shoe Shine. You guys have probably heard this, and you probably have heard it a million effing times, Drew. Did you hear about it? Do you have any idea what the breaking news is? Because you've probably already heard it too a million times. He's shaking his head. Well, there it is. Breaking news from Turkey, Al-Sheikh. The Gypsy King is back. Tyson Fury unretires for the millionth time. Yeah, that's right. What sets the stage? I mean, okay, Deontay Wilder. The one guy he hasn't fought is Anthony Joshua. That I think we all could agree. Let me know in the chat. But I agree that that's a fight that I would still love to see between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Sure, it's past their prime. Both of them, in my opinion, are past their prime. But it's still a fight that I think could sell out the O2 Arena or get a lot of interest. What do you think, Drew? Deontay Wilder, mix it up with Usyk if he can get a chance. Can he mix it up with Dubois? Or can he get the dream matchup against Anthony Joshua?
I watched up Joshua and knocked Wilder out in 5 rounds. It's a fucking shame. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who I pissed off about it. You get pissed off about that one, you suck a lot of dick, I'm guessing.
You know, I'm surprised.
I don't give a fuck either. Like, tell you the truth, I'm in rare mode tonight.
Oh shit.
Let's start this off right now. To everybody that watches the news and watching the YouTube on Philly, when she goes and she wraps those dick suckers and everything she's saying is bullshit because, number one, she's not breaking down the whole percentage. Oh, I gave them the most. If you divide 12% on this, or 13%, it's probably 2.7, 2.7, 2.7, and 3. Which you go after taxes, if anybody knows the tax structure in PA and in Philadelphia, you're left with a 0.5% raise. And I'm going to say something for someone that acts like a fucking, that's a fucking Democrat, she acts so much like a fucking Republican. It's not even fucking funny. And it's a fucking shame. If anybody from Philly watches this shit, vote that bitch the fuck out because she's nothing but a fuck up piece of shit male. And all she cares about, instead of rather have her city safe and everything, you rather send all your fucking cops to a fucking picket line to fucking take control and to sort your shit. That's all I had to say.
All right. Well, I'll have to go back and edit that whole piece out just to save this episode that may get 200 views. Drew, guys, hit the thumbs up. Drew, you make a great point. I've been listening to what the mayor brought up and what her offer is. It barely adds up in my books to a little bit over 3%, which is like, come on, you guys haven't had a raise in how long?
We had a raise. We had a raise. We settled for a 5% yearly extension raise and everything on a promise of a better contract, and she went back on her road on it. And now we're in this position. I went unpaid for 2 days already. And what I'm getting paid for a week as a strike fund from my union is $200 a week. That is all I'm receiving. I worked 1 day this week, one full day. The last 2 days are $40 days.
So if you guys are just joining us, Drew, you guys know Drew works in Philadelphia for the city. He's a union worker, and they're under strike. Good to see you, Mom Food. Drew is fired up. You can go and Google, just put it in the YouTube search browser, what's going on with Philadelphia, trash strike and whatnot, and you can see, go check out the Philly Captain. That's a good channel, Drew. By the way, you should subscribe to the Philly Captain, man. That guy just rides around his little e-scooter around all the dangerous hoods.
Drink. I should get a fucking bottle of Southern Comfort for this shit.
So, guys, back to boxing. Good to see Mom Food. Make sure you guys subscribe to her, guys. If she's definitely one of my mods. Put your channel up in there. Let's get back into the groove of things, guys, and be part of a community that shares and prospers together. So we got through Friday night, and that brings us to Saturday. I just showed that funny video. Oscar's promising that he's got a lot or big surprise for Edgar Berlanga on July 12th. Queens, New York, at a tennis stadium, nonetheless. But Oscar had some very good news this weekend, Drew. And it's resonating with me for two reasons. Where's Fonzie? Fonzie's not here today. I think Fonzie's coming this weekend. So, looking forward to seeing the homeboy Fonzie, who, by the way, shout out to him, got me this beautiful Canelo Alvarez hat at the taqueria that Canelo Alvarez and his brother own in San Diego. This is official from the San Diego taqueria. He had some great news. Floyd Schofield, who we've sat next to his mom twice for both of his fights in Las Vegas in recent memory. Floyd Schofield and his mom and his dad and everybody, his team, had the most incredible KO on the Jake Paul card this weekend. And it's great because, like I said, we've been very friendly with his mother, but we've yet to have him on the show. But also in the past, we've had a fighter that Jake Paul promotes, Lucas Bari, who had a sensational knockout, kind of like this one, where he rallied from behind. In this case, Floyd Schofield knocked him out with in less than 90 seconds. An incredible knockout of Tevin Farmer, former world champion. Tevin Farmer, who gave Oscar De La Hoya's other fighter, he gave William El Camarón Zepeda hell in two fights. I think he beat William Zepeda in the first one. I think he beat Raymond Murataya of Top Rank. Sorry, Santiago. I think he beat him in that fight, man. I think Tevin Farmer, he got the shaft on two of those fights. Those were very hard fights for Tevin Farmer. Very good performances. Ones where I think he should have won. And then you got Floyd Schofield knocking him out, bro. Was it the pinpoint accuracy, the stunning athleticism, stunning explosiveness from Floyd Schofield and power that ended Tevin Farmer that nobody else has done in recent memory, just ended him in 30 seconds? It was an incredible, incredible knockout. Yeah, Santiago, yeah. Shout out to Fonzie for hooking me up with this one, man. I owe him this weekend. I got to buy him some ceviche or something, or a cocktail de camarones. True. Floyd Schofield in the post-fight interview. This is a very, very important, guys, because there's a lot of YouTube creators right here watching maybe, or you guys that support. But Floyd Schofield said something. We know that he went to Saudi Arabia and he was going to fight Shakur Stevenson. And then suddenly him and another fighter fell very ill randomly. They couldn't tell us what it was. Floyd Schofield took pictures in the hospital. And the big fight, he was going to get a championship fight against the great Shakur Stevenson, fell apart 3 days before the fight. And the internet went ballistic. And here's something you guys need to know. Floyd Schofield does not hang out on social media. He has an Instagram account. He is on Twitter, but he doesn't run it. He ain't the one tweeting, guys. It's not him. It's most likely, I'm just speculating, it's most likely his dad that everybody seems to have an issue with, his dad, who is his trainer. Floyd Schofield Jr. does not hang out on the internet, but he was nearly in tears of joy, tears of frustration. He told the audience that he contemplated quitting boxing. He's 22 years old, just was already in line to fight for a world title, gave an explosive fight of the night performance, in my opinion, on Saturday, and he tells the audience that he considered quitting because of the comments and the reaction that people had given him when he had to pull out of the Shakur Stevenson fight. What does that say, Drew, about what's going on social media? For one thing, I think it's good he's not in charge of his own Twitter account. I think some fighters love to be on social media. Ryan Garcia, Rolando Romero. There's plenty of fighters that like to be on social media. He doesn't. He saw the comments. He saw the feedback. He saw the reaction from fans and all the nasty things they said about him and his father. And we've literally had a very famous YouTuber in the past week. She killed herself. Unalived. I hope I don't get busted for that. Unalived herself. 2 million subscribers because of negative comments. And Floyd Schofield admitted, hey, I'm a human being. I thought about retiring. I thought about hanging up the gloves because of what people were saying about me. It's a lot of pressure for a 22-year-old. Absolutely, Sontel Media. It's a lot of pressure for anybody. It's even a lot of pressure for YouTube content creators. And it just goes back to what last week, Drew, we were talking about it, that Deontay Wilder, who gave a very spirited performance for a 39-year-old, he said he had to seek professional psychiatric help. He sought the assistance of a sports psychologist to get him back on track, man, because he had some mental health stuff going on. And it's time to just be out there and be open about it. If you need help, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to get help. It is okay. Let's drop the stigma amongst men, women seeking help. It's a hard world we live in right now. We absolutely live in a difficult world. And sometimes being on social media, it actually makes things worse for you. And in Floyd Schofield's case, I think Floyd Schofield has the potential to honestly win a title at 135. I think he's going to do it. One of those 4 titles he's going to fall upon it and win that one of those titles. But if he can't handle the social media, if it affected him like it did the last time, I think it's in his best interest to let somebody else handle your social media account. Let your publicist handle it and just focus on your boxing, because his performance was unreal, dog. 90 seconds to knock out Tevin Farmer. This is what a focused Floyd Schofield can do. And Oscar De La Hoya could not have been happier, man. What did you guys think about his performance? I know a lot of people, we've ragged on him, or maybe we didn't necessarily believe he fell ill. It was a mystery illness. I'm pretty sure there was some truth to it. You know what it is? You know what I'm saying? There had to be some truth to it. You fly to a different country, you eat different food, who knows what's in the water, blah, blah, blah. Probably some gastrointestinal shit, and he wasn't even able to make weight. I think that's what happened, guys. I'm just speculating. I think when he went to Saudi Arabia, he had some gastrointestinal issues, and they freaked out. There's no way we can make weight when we're completely fucked up stomach-wise or whatnot. I mean, it affected him 2-3 days before the fight. Well, Drew, I've done a lot of talking, but tell me what you think about Floyd Schofield's performance on Saturday.
Very good performance for the 90 seconds of it that lasted and everything. He got him out of there. He did what he had to do. And now it sets him up for a big fight. That's if Shakur gets past Zepeda, which I think he does. I don't think Zepeda is really that good. I think the volume is the biggest thing for him. And I think you time him, you actually make him useless. So if we're going to look at it, I expect Shakur Stevenson to possibly make this a one-sided decision, probably a boring decision, that Zepeda has no offense whatsoever. And do we see Schofield versus Shakur Stevenson? Hopefully. But I think Schofield, I think the route for him is to go get a belt and go and be the guy that arguably lost to Tevin Farmer, Muay Thai, and go for that belt. And I think the fight could be made. And I will favor Schofield in that fight. And if it makes the fight more interesting if Schofield shows up with a belt. So if we look at it, do we look? I think the fight's more important as a unification fight. And I think Schofield can get himself more money and bring more money to the table. So...
Guys, I want to give a big shout out to our friend Gail Falkenthal of nyfights.com. If somebody in the chat can go and put Gail's channel in the chat, that'd be amazing, because I want to point out an interview she did with William El Camarón Zepeda this week. A fantastic interview. This super fight is happening in just less than 10 days. July 12th, William El Camarón Zepeda and Gail got a chance to do an incredible interview on her channel on YouTube. So please, if somebody can post a link to her channel in the chat, and it'll give you an idea about what William Zepeda versus Shakur Stevenson, what you can expect from this incredible fight. Two completely different styles. And Drew, I'm not ready to give my opinion. On one hand, I always thought that William El Camarón Zepeda, he's the kind of fighter that will give so much trouble to Shakur Stevenson that he might break the defensive genius of Shakur Stevenson. On another hand, I think that Shakur is so talented that he'll be able to dwarf the output of and make William El Camarón Zepeda second guess himself. I have seen William El Camarón Zepeda get timed by another Mexican fighter, and he was dropped early. In an early round, he was kind of shocked that he was dropped. It can happen. This may be, for me, it's probably going to be Shakur Stevenson's greatest test so far. Can he handle a very special lightweight, one that holds a record in the lightweight division for the most punches thrown in a fight? That honor goes to William El Camarón Zepeda. Can a defensive wizard like Shakur Stevenson beat an offensive wizard in William El Camarón Zepeda? Go and check that out. Veronica, good to see you. Good to see SB. Great to see SB. Great to see Veronica in here, guys. We're talking about it. Yes, Gail, that interview is fantastic. It also includes his trainer, who's very well known in the community, Panda Najat. So if I'm pronouncing that correct, please go check that out. If somebody... Oh, thank you very much, SB, so much for putting that in the chat. Go and check out that interview. That brings us back to Floyd Schofield. Drew, I think if Oscar is willing to, I think for Oscar would love to see William El Camarón Zepeda, his fighter, win, but ultimately that would mean that two of his best fighters in the lightweight division, two that are his Golden Boy fighters, would end up fighting each other, Drew. Do you have an early prediction? July 12th? I know we'll probably go more in depth in a few days about that fight, but early prediction, does Shakur get past the Mexican fighter?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a point decision win. I think Zepeda's offensive output is gonna be neutralized early, and he's gonna be a non-factor. I think this is gonna be a boring decision win for Shakur Stevenson.
But I know they talked about making that ring smaller, but it's not going to be a small ring. So it is going to give Shakur that space he's accustomed to using all his skills defensively. That could be a contributing factor. And there was the Dominican fighter. Who's the Dominican fighter he fought where it ended up being the least amount of punches thrown in a title fight? That was a record that Shakur Stevenson set. Exactly. I mean, Dos Santos, the Dominican fighter, a very heavy-handed fighter, right? He knocked out what's his name? El Rayo. Incredible fight. Guy's got a lot of power, but he wasn't able to get to Shakur. I don't know yet. I'm going to go back and watch your interview, Gail, to see if William Zepeda and their trainer have got a game plan to, overcome Shakur's slick defense. I'm going to go back and watch that.
I think there's only one way you can do it. He's going to have to bully Shakur. And what you do with the boxer and anything, you bully him. You make it a physical fight. You bully him. You make it as dirty as possible to take him out of his game and get your offense started. There's something that's how you got to beat him. You got to make it as uncomfortable as possible for him. Because all he's going to do is pop shot you and move on. It's how it is. If you does that pop shot and counter him a couple of times, I don't think there's a plan B for Shakur to get it to Shakur's decision. So, the way I look at it, but I still think that he ain't going to be able to do it. So, see how it is.
Well, guys, the co-main event was incredible. The Jake Paul card was actually extremely entertaining, and they gave us some free fights. The preliminary cards featured the return of Holly Holm. I want to give credit to Holly Holm coming back in her 40s. Holly Holm, a legend in the UFC, also had not been in the ring professionally for boxing for over 12 years, overcomes a tough challenge in fighting a tall, 5'8", undefeated Mexican fighter, and she looked like she was a fighter in her 20s or 30s. She was everything was still there, firing on all cylinders. It was really remarkable. Of all the older fighters we saw this weekend, I have to tip my hat off to her. She gave the best performance. Also, before we get to the co-main event, a big shout out to Curiel, also a fighter from Oscar de la Hoya, coming out with a knockout in round 4. And Julian Rodriguez is probably the best feel-good story of the entire Jake Paul. Julian Rodriguez, East Coast fighter, Drew. He beats an undefeated guy and Griffin. Griffin was a extremely tall, lanky, undefeated power punching fighter that I've never really seen fight. I mean, he looked like a very special type fighter. One of those guys that, like Tommy Hitman Hearns type guys. Like, oh my God, this guy's going to be dangerous for the welterweight division. Julian Rodriguez used to fight on Top Rank. Apparently, he had done some jail time. Fell off. Oh my God, SB, I thank you so much. That is so kind and of you, SB. I appreciate you coming back and donating $20 to the channel. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you to SB, one of the best mods out on YouTube. But Julian Rodriguez, guys, feel good story. There's fighters that have been released from Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Like you have some tough fights. I believe he fought Pedraza, lost to Pedraza when Pedraza was a great fighter. And people had kind of written off this guy, Julian Rodriguez, a fighter that really fights at 140 pounds. He took this challenge. Jake Paul said, according to what they say, Jake Paul said, I don't even know who you are, dog. Like, you're just here to lose. Well, the joke's on him because the guy who he had thought was going to be his in-house fighter, Griffin, gets knocked out in the very last round, man. That is an incredible feel-good story for Julian Rodriguez. Shout out to him for coming back to the sport of boxing and doing the unthinkable and beating the house favorite, knocking him out. There was so many knockouts this weekend, man. It was great. Well, Drew, that leads us to the co-main event. Do you have any thoughts on that guy, Julian? Right, he's an East Coast guy. I think he's from Jersey, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was that was my favorite fight. That was a great fight. Let me get back here on track, guys. Anyways, Zurdo versus Dorticos, the Cuban contender, who's actually a great fighter. Dorticos gave him hell in the early rounds, and I thought, oh man, this looks like it's gonna be a bad night for Zurdo Ramirez. Excuse me, that's not the right pick, but that was after the fight. I called on Twitter. I'm like, man, after 2 rounds, Zurdo was really needing to make a vital adjustment, and I was doubting if this was an off night. And even my wife was commenting. She's like, we've seen Zurdo fight here at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. We've seen him in better physical looking shape. There's just a little bit of love handles, just a little bit of soft around the midsection. We're like, is his cardio not up? Is his cardio not up to, what's going on? Is there something off? But he made the adjustments necessary. He ends up outpointing Zorticos in a 12-round battle where a lot of punches were thrown, Drew, and it seemed like the Cuban fighter, he ran out of gas at the very end, allowing the champion, unified champion, to keep both his titles, Drew. What did you think about this fight?
It was pretty good. Like, I look at it as like I look at it like this. It was a good fight, but there's always something you could get better. You could get better, and kept his titles. Now you realize, hey, you kept your titles on a technicality, so that means you gotta get your ass better. So hopefully, I don't know if there's gonna be a rematch or not, but if there's not, hopefully he learns from it and everything, because that shit could have got out of hand for him.
Well, Gail says that it was a little off night by Zurdo. He was really heavy. He weighed in about 220 on fight night, which I think may have slowed him down. And I have to give credit to the Cuban fighter, Zorticos. I think Zorticos, looking at the landscape of the Cruiserweight champions, I don't think he beats Jayo Patai. I think he gives Jayo Patai a good 6 rounds. But I think he possibly could have, on this Saturday, probably could have beat Badu Jack. Now, we just saw Badu Jack fight on the Canelo undercard for Cinco de Mayo. I think he probably could have beat Badu Jack.
Here's the issue. When you, like, that fight was a lot closer than what people have it, first and foremost. I had it 8-4 in favor of Zurdo. I could have made it 7-5, but Zurdo's food to Jago Patai. And
let's ask the chat. Let's ask the chat, guys who know the cruiserweight champion landscape. Is Zurdo food for Jai Opetaia?
I am going to say this real quick because I'm looking at chat and everything, and we normally allow people to say shit wherever they want here, but if you're going to say any race shit, you're not going to be welcome and you get the fuck out.
All right. Well, sorry for the language, but Drew has a point, guys. We try to keep it respectful. We do have mods, so if you want to respectfully be in here and talk about boxing, that's great and all. Even just so long as we don't disrespect each other personally or disrespect people culturally or racially, that's basically the rules here. But we appreciate everybody that's in here. Drew, you said something very strong. You said Zurdo probably is food for Jai Opetaia. What I'm concerned now, really, let's talk about the main event. We did a show last week. We came back when we talked about, is Chavez Jr. going to disappoint the Mexican-American fan base once again? I said, is he going to be a letdown for La Raza? And pretty much every pundit, boxing commentator has agreed that it was completely to be expected. It went exactly to script, right? The script did not deviate from what we're used to. He hasn't given us a good fight in over 5 years. He didn't even give us a good fight when he fought Canelo Alvarez, which was over, my Lord, it was like over 10 years ago I was at that fight. He didn't give us a good fight that night. He gave us one great round against Sergio Maravilla Martinez, the 12th round. It was kind of like what he tried to rally in the 9th round against Jake Paul to let his hands go, but he was virtually a punching bag for the entire beginning half of that fight. And both my wife and I were scratching our heads like, is this the strategy? Really? Are you just really, do you not have enough stamina to let your hands go in the early rounds and you're just going to hope you knock them out in the last 2 or 3 rounds? And that's exactly what it looked like. But boy, even when he was letting his hands go, Drew, he was completely inaccurate.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this right now. Chavez Jr., he's nothing but a disgrace to his father, and it's a shame. And now you load yourself to the standard of being a misfit or somewhat. Dude needs to retire. You not really that good. Tell you the truth, you were never that good. And you just got exposed by Sergio Martinez. Yeah, you almost knocked him out, but the thing is, you knocked him down a couple times and you couldn't finish him. He kept coming up for more and he kept fighting you and everything. So let's look at it like this. Chavez needs to go away and stop embarrassing your father.
I don't, at 39 years old, I don't think he's got any more. I think this may have been his last payday. Let's be honest. It has to. Who's going to want to use him as an opponent at this point? At cruiserweight, he's completely ineffective. And that great fight, he had his championship run at middleweight, 160. He would melt down. He did beat the great Andy Lee. That was a great win. He almost knocked out Sergio Maravilla Martinez. Once he moved up to light heavyweight, Fonfora destroyed him. And subsequently, he couldn't even beat, Danny Jacobs destroyed him in Phoenix when they threw beer bottles at him. It's a hot mess. Yeah, his career ever since it just completely faltered. And Jake Paul, again, his marketing genius, he convinced a lot of people that Chavez Jr. was going to be a credible threat this Saturday night. And come on. Those of us that know should have known better. Did I believe the hype? Nah, I didn't believe the hype. Now, let's be honest, Drew. Did you see any improvements from Jake Paul? Because I've seen in his offensive arsenal, I did see some stuff I'm beginning to like. I do like the uppercuts he threw. He set up some nice uppercuts that I really haven't paid attention to. He was working the body. He threw a lot of jabs. He averaged over 50 punches per round. But one thing I didn't notice, I did notice defensively, Drew, is that he can't counterpunch. In fact, when Jake Paul, when Chavez Jr. turned it up rounds 9, 10, and 11 and started connecting, you could see that he don't like to get punched in the face. Not only does he not like to come back, get punched back in the face, but he doesn't adjust quickly enough to be an effective counterpuncher, which is why he lost the fight against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury pressed the fight, pressed the action, could let his hands go, and Tommy Fury was ranked in the top 50. He's not ranked in the top 15. So what is an actual ranked fighter in the top 15 going to do to Jake Paul? Again, Tommy Fury was ranked in the top 50. He could let his hands go. He is the same age. Virtually didn't have a real amateur pedigree either. And he beat Jake Paul. They're talking about Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. He brought up Gervonta Tank Davis. They're literally thinking about doing an exhibition. But Tommy Fury is a very credible threat, and I think it's a great rematch. It's a rematch I would like to see if Jake Paul's actually improved. And by the way, it's the only guy who's beat him professionally. Why not run it back? Excuse me, guys. The TV went off behind me. Drew, who do you want to see him fight? What did you think of it? Well, give me your whole take.
Chavez Jr. is a punching bag going forward. It was a punching bag. He was tailor-made for this Jake Paul. He was a punching bag. He had no defense. So being impressed Jake Paul, no, I'm not. That was a punching bag, Chavez Jr. And the dude kept on bitching. All he did was bitch most of that fight. Like, tell you the truth, I'd rather not see him fight again. That's my thing. I think it's a fucking disgrace. Like, yeah, he's number 14 on the WBA, which is a fucking disgrace too, so fuck them. And, like, if he fights Zurdo knocks him out. Like, let's keep it real. It's a fucking joke. I don't give a fuck.
A lot of F-bombs. I don't know too many of these fighters. Giovanni Scuderi, that's a very interesting name. I'm going to presume that most of these cruiserweights have some pretty serious amateur pedigree. And because the cruiserweight's one of those divisions I don't pay too much attention to, honest to God, don't know too much about most of these people. But I would presume that anybody here who has Olympic pedigree would absolutely destroy Jake Paul. You know, anybody here on this list that has Olympic pedigree. Yuniel Dorticos, the Cuban fighter that fought this Saturday against the champion, I think would absolutely annihilate Jake Paul. Jake Paul did a face-off with Zurdo Ramirez, and Zurdo kind of said that he would be open to a matchup against him, but the money for Zurdo is to fight, Turki Al-Sheikh to set him up to fight Jayo Pataya. That's a super fight. That is just about undisputed. It's a unification for 3 belts. It's an incredible fight. But here we are, just for shits and giggles, as they say. Jake Paul squared up post-fight. And, I don't like this fight at all for Jake Paul, man. Even Zurdo having a kind of an off night this past Saturday, there's no way that Jake Paul can beat Zurdo Ramirez. He's a former super middleweight champion. He has a ton of experience. It could be one of those fights where, a massacre. Yeah, it could result in a knockout if Zurdo pressed the action in a KO.
It would end in one round.
It could potentially end in 1 round. So to keep this gravy train going, to keep the promotional, everything that's going on with the great work MVP is doing for women's boxing, Jake Paul being a headliner, I'm seeing people say that they speculate that he may actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis, that they did agree to fight in a exhibition. And then you have all these amazing fighters. He's got women on his roster. I think he signed so many people. He even signed Ebony Bridges last week, who just had a baby. I mean, he's got an incredible roster. He put on a great card nonetheless, co-produced it with Oscar De La Hoya. I don't think he should fight anybody that's going to really beat him. At the same time, he's not going to improve if he doesn't fight fighters that are going to test him. So honest to God, Tommy Fury, take the money, Tommy. Take whatever offer they give you. Just run it back, man. That's a great fight for Jake, and we'll really get to see if Jake has improved. Gail says Jake is a brilliant marketer. I agree about that. I will agree about that. He does doing a great job, and that was a great fight card on Saturday. It had my full attention for the entire Saturday night. And shout out to Drew, who surprised me for going on and covering the fight live. I didn't even know. I actually was well deep into a bunch of cocktails, so I had no idea. But shout out to Drew and everybody that supported him. That looked like a great turnout. Something else I wanted to bring up about Jake Paul, Drew, you had some not so kind words. It's America. We have free speech, right? Jake Paul put this statement out on Monday. He says, I've worked hard to get here, but there's nothing to celebrate. Long road ahead, and I'm more committed to it every day. I may veer off the path now and again, but being a world champion is my desired ultimate destination. This is the wrong picture. Sorry, guys. He put out a statement that he is going to begin to pursue legal action against people that legally they have to slander him. So if you've been a content creator or a publication, I suppose, that he feels is slandering, he's got a great legal team and he's had enough of it. So we got to tread lightly. We got to tread lightly, Drew.
Sue me, bitch.
Oh, please, Drew. Another thing I've got to edit out of this show tonight. Good to see you, Paul. Appreciate you being here, guys. I got a couple of news items. There is a fight this weekend, the great Jack Catterall in the UK, but it is 4th of July weekend in Las Vegas, Friday night. It's probably going to be explosive. No pun intended. It's going to be a great time. It shouldn't be too hot. I think it's going to be about 103. Most people are going to be occupied with spending time with the family, and they probably won't tune in to see Jack Catterall. Unless you're a hardcore boxing fan, you can catch that Saturday afternoon. What I am looking forward to, obviously, next week is we're going to do a lot of coverage on that. So go ahead and rewatch Gail's interview. They put the link in it. She interviewed William Zepeda, El Camarón, Golden Boy fighter. That is going to be an incredible co-main. The whole card is good. David Morrell is on this card, Drew, and David Morrell is fighting on July 12th, an amazing Eastern European fighter who is undefeated. This could be back and forth. It could be that's also on the card. There's a lot of good stuff. July 12th, July 19th is coming up, guys. I can't believe it. There's so much on July 19th in just 2 Saturdays. Bam Rodriguez comes back. Pacheco versus Macumbi. I believe my friend, I'm going to get in touch with Francisco, is going to be his assist man going to Texas, but I'll confirm that this coming week. That's an incredible card. July 19th in Texas. We have the heavyweight fight. Are you looking forward to Usyk versus Dubois 2 in the afternoon on Saturday? I'm not leaving the house Saturday. I'm going to hibernate all day. I'm going to make sure I've got all the food and beverages I need. Well, actually, I may still end up going to the Pacquiao. Let's talk about this, guys. Quick news. You might be interested in this one, Drew. Gary Russell Jr. has been added to the big fight in Las Vegas, July 19th. Manny Pacquiao versus Barrios, the return of the featherweight champion, the great Russell Jr. After 3.5 years, are you a little bit excited or interested in this fight? Or see how he looks?
Not really.
Not really. He said, psh. His brother is in the peak of his career. He could still, I don't know. I'm excited about that. Let's take a look at this. July 19th. I mentioned it, guys. All day boxing. We have Usyk versus Dubois 2. This is probably going to be free on, if you have Prime Video. I don't think, it may be on YouTube. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. But this is a very interesting undercard. You have Mark Magsayo, also a former champion. David Picasso, a contender that was potentially going to get a fight against the great Japanese fighter Inoue, is going to be fighting a member of the Kamita family. The Kamitas just fought, his brother just fought the top rank featherweight champion Kamita. So David Picasso, if he wins this, he could be getting an opportunity later in this year or maybe next year to fight Inoue. Gary Russell Jr. So it's all top featherweights right here. And then that's going to open up for the main fight, which is the Pacquiao versus Barrios, and of course Fundora versus Tim Tszyu 2 and Pitbull Fierro. I mean, this card is looking good now, guys. I think this is going to be good. I should be there on press week. Gail says, I'm interested in Fundora Tszyu 2. Brilliant rematch. I'm so surprised by it. And hopefully it looks like Manny Pacquiao's healthy and everything's going to go. So we're just 17 days away from that fight. An incredible weekend for boxing in the middle of July. It's probably going to be 115 degrees. I'm serious. It's probably going to be 115 degrees that day in Vegas. But the other big news, Drew, is Tyson Fury unretires. Who do you want to see him fight?
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua.
I don't want to see him fight Usyk again because I don't think he can beat Usyk.
Well,
let's look at it like this. The first fight was close. Second fight wasn't close. I thought it was an 8-4 fight, the second fight. I thought Usyk adjusted, put away. He had Usyk in the first fight, but Usyk adjusted and won the fight.
So Gail says she saw Manny at Wildcard last week, and I've seen some of those videos. They're absolutely, his hand speed is still there. It's great to watch him. I saw Emiliano Vargas and his brothers running with Manny Pacquiao. I mean, it's amazing that he can get to, for a politician too, that he can still get in that type of shape at 46 years old. He gives a lot of guys in their 40s inspiration. It's going to be a great time for all the Filipinos that support Manny Pacquiao to see him do it one more time. I'm sure that fight is going to sell very well. I'm excited to see it. Guys, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I thought Drew wasn't going to be here. We don't cross the picket line. Huelga. Hopefully, Drew, it resolves itself. I'm very much invested. Hopefully that gets resolved in the city of Philadelphia as quickly as possible. Appreciate everybody that was here. Saludos to Gail, Wiley, Paul. Paul, he says, I'm hoping that Pacquiao wins, but his age, Father Time always seems undefeated to me. With the rare exceptions of George Foreman in his 40s coming back and winning a world title. Nothing surprises me in the sport of boxing. Nothing ever surprises me in the sport of boxing. Mario Barrios, he's a great guy. I met him in person, but he hasn't looked too great in some of his fights recently. Right? I mean, to be honest, he's struggled in some of those. Abel Ramos almost beat him recently. And he's a veteran fighter, an older fighter as well. So, Magic Mike, shout out. He says, I agree, Paul. Good to see you, Magic Mike. Hopefully we see you in Vegas pretty soon. And please say hello to all your good friends and family. I appreciate you being in here. Thank you guys so much. Again, Drew, thank you for covering the Sports Saturday. Out of all the fights you saw this weekend, is there one person a fighter that you were most impressed with?
No.
He says no. Guys, we'll be back next week. We're going to talk a lot about the upcoming fight, the big card, July 12th in New York City. Again, follow my good friends here. Again, we put Gail's out here. Follow Mom Food, Plant Food, and Things, and all the great creators. We'll be back on Monday night. And, okay, I just read. Gail says Foreman had 10 comeback fights before he beat Michael Moore. Well, guys, have a beautiful, beautiful holiday weekend. A blessed 4th of July. We'll see you on Monday. Drew, peace out. Peace.